Hey everybody, and welcome back to It's Only Food with Chef John Politte. Today we are going to be showing you how to make Moo Shu Tofu. Cue the music. Alright, well welcome back. Thanks a lot for watching. If this is your first time joining us, please do me a favor, head down to the corner, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that notification bell so you can be notified each and every time I upload new content. Alright, like I said, we're going to be making Moo Shu Tofu, or vegetarian Moo Shu. So we got three different groups here of ingredients that I want to introduce to you. So we're going to start out with the sauce. We have got a half a cup of hoisin sauce, a quarter cup of rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and 1 teaspoon of some sesame oil. And then we're going to have our tofu, some cornstarch and salt and pepper. And now the Moo Shu ingredients, we have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 large eggs, about 8 ounces of some shiitake mushrooms, 4 cloves of garlic, a 14-ounce bag of coleslaw, and some flour tortillas that we're going to use instead of the pancakes that you see in the Chinese restaurants that we use. Now, olive oil and salt and pepper are going to be used throughout this whole recipe, so check the description box for all the ingredients and the process for when you add everything together. Alright, we got some prep to do before we start cooking, so let's head into it. Alright, so we're going to get our tofu prepared first before we start cooking it. And what I want to do basically is just drain off some of the water we've got on here. What I want to do now is, before we start frying the tofu, I want to drain it off. I have dumped all the water that this was immersed in the package. And then what you basically want to do is get a cutting board or some sort of plate or whatever you want to use, throw some paper towels down, put some paper towel on top of that, another cutting board, and then a little heavier surface on top to press down on that to get some of that liquid out. So we're going to set this off to the side. So we're going to make our sauce. We're just going to add all of the sauce ingredients that we listed earlier into a large bowl. Make sure it's large enough for all your ingredients. And you got room to mix. Whoa, as well too. And try not to break your cute little Pyrex dishes. Alright, got everything in there. I want to blend this well, so I'm going to use a whip to do this. That already smells good. So we're just going to whip this up. We'll probably whip it up again right before we use it in the vegetables that we're going to cook. But now we're going to switch over to cutting our tofu and get that prepared for when we hit the frying pan. Alright, I got our cutting board set up. I have a pan I'm going to put the tofu into after I've cut it. Now you can see a lot of that moisture's off of there. I did smash it just a little bit because I haven't really worked with tofu that much. I do enjoy eating it, but I really haven't cooked that much with it. But what you want to do is cut it into strips. However you want to present it. Remember, you're going to cook this and it's going to be inside the tofu or the pancake of the Moo Shu. So however you want to do it, if you want to cut it into strips or cubes, I think I'm just going to cut it into cubes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and put it into our foil pan here, and then we'll go from there. Alright, here we have our tofu all cut up into cubes. We're going to hit it with salt and pepper. We're going to hit it with some of that cornstarch and mix it all up, and then introduce it to some hot oil to fry it up really nice and crisp. So let's head over to our wok and get started on that. Alright, as you can see, I have got everything we need. Our mise en place, I've got our pan with the utensils, got our tofu, I've got all of our ingredients and all of our tools that we're going to need to start making this wonderful dish. So let's take you in to the tofu there, and we'll get started with that. Alright, we got our tofu right here. I am going to go ahead and salt and pepper most of it. We're going to cook this off in batches after we have added the cornstarch, and throw it onto a separate plate because we're going to reintroduce it into the dish again after we've got all the vegetables cooked off. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of cornstarch in here. And then I just want to mix it all up. Just get some of that cornstarch to add here to the tofu. That's going to add a nice color crust when it cooks in that oil. Now the pan is on with our oil in there getting hot. That's all we've done with the tofu. Salt and pepper, and sprinkle a little bit of cornstarch on there. Oil, we'll add a little tester in here to see how it goes. And once this starts to cook a little more, we see bubbles around it, we'll add a little bit more at a time. Cook them in small batches because you don't want them cooking next to each other. They have a tendency to stick. I will get a plate out that we can add our cooked tofu onto. Paper towel right here. I'll set that here. Just going to let this cook and get some nice color on there. Then we'll add it to the plate. All right, now into the same oil that we have cooked our tofu in, I want to throw our mushrooms in. Now I forgot this part of the prep. I left it out, I forgot. So wash your mushrooms really well to cut the stems off, get the dirt off. And then I just cut these into cubes, literally the same size basically as the tofu, because you're going to be putting it all into a pancake. They absorb a lot of oil too. So I put a little bit of oil in there, a little salt and pepper. Okay, so you're going to let these saute. What I was saying, you want them to be almost identical in the match of the way they look as the tofu. You want to keep most of your ingredients the same size. Now I'm adding the garlic. We're going to let this just cook in with the mushroom before we add our cabbage and our egg and our sauce. So this already smells incredible. Okay, those are cooking down. I'm going to go ahead and add our cabbage to this. The whole bag. Just let this cook down. We'll keep stir frying this. I'm going to add just a little bit of this sauce in here to help it reduce the volume of this cabbage. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the sauce in there. And we're going to let this just cook down. It's still cooking. Off to the side a little bit. And we're going to add our egg in there. A little bit of salt and pepper. Don't want too much salt because the soy sauce and the hoisin have plenty of salt in it. We're just going to stir the middle of this. Let that egg cook. It's okay if it gets up into the cabbage. We're going to make sure this is thoroughly cooked throughout before we pull it out to make the presentation and eat it. It smells fantastic. It's breaking down like we want it to. The egg is cooking. Our tofu is over here. It's ready to go. I'm going to add a little bit into this. Now I like to plate it with some tofu on top as well. Go ahead and mix this all up. This egg only adds texture, flavor, but it also helps to bind this whole dish together. And you'll get that meatiness of that tofu and the meatiness of the mushroom in here as well. So we're gonna let this continue to cook until it's ready to go. You can see the bubbles in there throughout the whole dish. All right, it's cooked. I'm gonna add some of this tofu back into it, and I do like to save some for when I present it. So we're gonna go ahead and just mix this all up. Shut the heat off. All right, there you go. That's what it looks like in the pan. But what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take this out, we're gonna put it into the pancakes. In this case, the flour tortillas. We're gonna make it really, really pretty. Take awesome photos of those pretty pictures for you. Throw it down in the timeline with some groovy music. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna taste this. So enjoy the music and enjoy those pictures. Got a little pancake here. Beautiful. You can see everything that's in there. I hit it with a little bit of red pepper and some green onion and sesame seeds. I'm just going to give it a little dip in our sauce. Let's give it a bite. There's a lot going on in there. First thing I get is texture. Texture from the pancake. Flour tortilla, the texture of the egg in there, the tofu, and then the flavor hits you with the soy sauce coming out of that hoisin, the sugar. Oh, this is really, really good. I'm gonna give it one more bite just to make sure. Yeah, the crunch of the onions in there too. I mean, there's a lot going on in there. Flavor is incredible. Do yourself a big favor and make this. Doesn't have to be with tofu. You don't even have to use meat. You just do it with the vegetables. And this would be really, really good. Pork, chicken, beef, whatever you want to use. I just chose to do tofu to do something a little bit different. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment down below. Like this video, and then share this video with everybody that you know. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.